All over the world, there are people who act with extreme recklessness, disregarding rules and regulations, and causing all sorts of confusion and problems. However, there are those who go even further, taking really stupid actions, putting themselves and others at risk in a reckless way. Follow below. In the interior of São Paulo, a man without any hesitation jumps into the spider monkey enclosure. He believed that the small animals would be harmless, but soon finds himself seriously attacked in a scene that leaves everyone in a state of shock. In India, drunk, a man dares to jump into the lion enclosure, trying to touch them. The images that follow show the outcome of this insane attempt. In Canada, an individual says goodbye to his clothes and dives into the shark pool, defying the nature of these predators. In China, two friends, determined to save money, decide to jump over the wall of a zoo and sneak in. However, they didn't realize they were invading the tiger's enclosure, and what seemed like fun quickly turned into a fatal nightmare. And this is their last photo together. In Taiwan, a man enters the lion's enclosure with a Bible in his hands and begins to preach, as if the animals didn't pose any danger. What happens next is a tragedy waiting to happen, and the images would become one of the first to go viral on YouTube. In November 2011, in São Paulo, a man entered the monkey enclosure. João Leite dos Santos, a mechanic, was at the Sorocaba Zoo along with hundreds of other visitors. Located in the interior of São Paulo, the zoo offers a wide variety of attractions, with more than 1,000 animals from different species, including mammals, birds, reptiles, and amphibians. Additionally, the zoo features leisure areas, trails, and educational spaces, providing both recreational and informative experiences. However, João Leite didn't just want to blend into the crowd. At the spider monkey enclosure, he climbed over a wall and entered. Footage recorded by bystanders shows the man standing in the water inside the enclosure, trying to interact with the animals. 4 of them can be seen biting João's arm, and he is unable to do much to defend himself. Despite their small size, the monkeys can inflict serious injuries. In the footage, João's arm appears bleeding, with deep bite wounds. Part of his bone is even visible. Men rescued João and pulled him out of the enclosure. Due to his injuries, he was immediately taken to the nearest hospital for treatment. His wounds were not fatal, but were severe. After receiving medical care, he still had to face legal consequences. João told the media that he had been drunk that day and wanted to play with the monkeys, but did not expect such a strong attack. Spider monkeys are generally not aggressive toward humans. Although they may defend themselves if they feel threatened, their instinct is more geared toward escape than confrontation. João's reckless act could have ended very badly. If the primates had attacked together, they could have severed an artery, which would have been fatal. Moreover, the mechanic was extremely lucky to have chosen the spider monkey enclosure. Had it been larger animals, he might not have made it out alive. If he had drunkenly entered the chimpanzee enclosure, for example, he could have fallen victim to a brutal attack in front of all those people. In 2016, in India, a drunken man jumped into the lion enclosure. Mukesh, 35, was a worker at L&T Metro Rail in Nehru, Hyderabad, a major railway company. Originally from Rajasthan, he had moved to Nehru for work. On May 22, 2016, a Sunday, he took advantage of his day off to go out and have fun. Mukesh drank with friends and then went to the city zoo. The Nehru Zoological Park is a popular destination for families and locals. Many wild animals live there, attracting the attention of visitors. It didn't take long for Mukesh to reach the most popular spot, the lion enclosure. Suddenly, in his drunken state, he got the idea to go inside. He jumped over the fence and landed in the enclosure, walking toward the lions. In one of the videos recorded by witnesses, Mukesh can be seen standing close to the lions, calling out to them as if inviting them for a conversation. From a distance, other men started throwing stones to try to scare the animals away. The different angles captured in the recordings show the shocking images and highlight the danger Mukesh faced. However, the lions were unable to reach him completely and, within seconds, backed away slightly. Soon after, though, The animals ran in the opposite direction from Mukesh. For scaring the lions away, Mukesh apparently argued with the men standing on the wall. He then swam toward the wall in an attempt to get out. The lions could have returned to attack, but some staff members managed to lure them away and lock them in a smaller enclosure. Fortunately, the animals were not killed due to the man's recklessness, and he was also unharmed. Mukesh was taken to the local police and charged with trespassing. The entire interaction between Mukesh and the lions was captured on video and made headlines in newspapers. On social media, the footage went viral and shocked many people. Criticism and concerns about the zoo's security were raised, forcing the park administration to respond. In response to the backlash, they stated that they are constantly working to make the facility safer. In October 2018, in Toronto, Canada, a man came up with the idea of jumping into a shark-filled pool. On October 12th, everything was running normally at Ripley's Aquarium of Canada. The aquarium, home to more than 20,000 aquatic animals, is one of the city's most popular tourist attractions. People of all ages were drawn to see the various species, especially the sharks. However, one visitor got overly excited and made an extremely reckless decision. David Weaver, 37, decided it would be thrilling to jump into one of the aquarium's pools. But it wasn't just any pool, it was one filled with sharks. Weaver accessed a restricted area and, in the process, assaulted a staff member. Then he took off his clothes and finally did what he intended. He jumped into the pool. Since he was in a visible area, many visitors were shocked. Some feared an imminent tragedy, while others felt embarrassed by the situation. As Weaver swam on the surface, sand tiger sharks, sawfish, moray eels, and turtles moved beneath him. Fortunately for him, these sharks, despite their intimidating appearance, do not pose a great threat to humans and are relatively calm. Since it's not every day that someone jumps into a shark-filled pool, people quickly began recording the scene. Some, impressed, even applauded Weaver. The footage shows him swimming, jumping, and even diving. After several minutes, Weaver got out of the pool, put on his clothes, and walked away. Despite the time he spent there and the commotion he caused, neither security nor the police showed up to stop him. He managed to leave without facing any immediate consequences. When the aquarium's administration learned of the incident, they were furious and immediately called the police. On October 22nd of the same year, just days after the incident, Weaver was arrested. Authorities could not let such an irresponsible act go unpunished. Weaver had put himself and the animals at risk. Even though sand tiger sharks are not known for attacking humans, they could have reacted, and in a feeding frenzy, the situation could have turned into a bloodbath. The episode could have resulted in a live tragedy, creating major problems for the aquarium and possibly leading to the sharks being killed. Additionally, Weaver had also assaulted a staff member. Given all the trouble he caused, during his trial, he apologized and claimed he was drunk at the time of the incident. However, right after the hearing, he told reporters with a smile that he was neither drunk nor sorry and that he would do it all over again. He even added that this was just his style. Weaver, who already had a criminal record, was sentenced to 12 months in prison and banned from returning to the aquarium. Even though he was jailed, his fate could have been much worse. But not always do the consequences of something as reckless as entering a wild animal's enclosure result only in arrests and serious injuries. Sometimes, the outcome of such a decision can be fatal. In January 2017, in Ningbo, China, a man decided he wouldn't pay the entrance fee and tried to sneak into the zoo. However, he ended up entering the tiger enclosure. Younger Zoo houses around 10,000 animals from 200 species, including rare species such as white lions and rhinoceroses. It operates daily from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. With an entrance fee of 100 yuan, located amid mountains and lakes, it offers a natural and pleasant environment for visitors. In addition to traditional enclosures, the zoo has open areas for walks, animal shows, and various warning signs about the risks of getting too close to the cages. Zhang, along with his wife and children, was visiting the park with a couple of friends, a man named Li and his wife. The women and children bought tickets, and entered the park normally, but the two men decided they wouldn't pay and thought it would be easy to sneak in. To them, it seemed like a small adventure, something exciting with little risk. Zhang and Li then climbed a 3-meter external wall, followed by a second wall of the same height, not immediately realizing they were entering the tiger enclosure. Li, upon realizing they had entered a dangerous area, hesitated and decided not to jump in. However, Zhang didn't think twice. He believed the animals were used to human presence and wouldn't pose an immediate risk. Without hesitation, he jumped in. A photo captured by a visitor shows both men on top of one of the walls, with Zhang already preparing to descend. That was the last image of Zhang alive. As soon as he hit the ground of the enclosure, the tigers noticed his presence. For a brief moment, Zhang stood still, perhaps hoping the big cats wouldn't react aggressively. But within seconds, one of the tigers approached and attacked him. The attack was brutal and swift. Desperate screams echoed throughout the zoo as horrified visitors watched the scene unfold. Many people started filming, and the images quickly spread across social media. Some tried shouting to distract the tigers, while zoo staff rushed to try to contain the animals. Zoo employees used tranquilizers, but it would take time for them to take effect. Given the severity of the situation, shots were fired at the tigers to drive them away. But it was too late. Zhang was motionless on the ground, showing no signs of life. By the end of the day, only tragedy remained. The zoo issued a statement reinforcing that the incident occurred due to the man's recklessness and that there were numerous warnings about the dangers. Li himself confirmed that there were signs informing visitors of the animal's presence, which is why he didn't enter. Zhang believed he would save money by avoiding the entrance fee. Instead, he paid a much higher price for his reckless choice. In September 2004, before YouTube even existed, a video was already destined to go viral. Chances are, you've seen or at least come across some of these images on the internet. That's right, this happened in Taipei in 2004. Chung Ho Chun, 46, was a deeply religious man. He believed that his faith could protect him from any danger, and that his mission was to spread the word of God to all creatures. But his conviction led him to an extremely risky act. He decided to preach not only to the zoo visitors, but also to the wild animals themselves. That day, the Taipei Zoo was crowded. Families strolled around, children ran excitedly between enclosures, and tourists snapped photos of the lions, one of the zoo's main attractions. Then, dressed in white and holding a Bible, Chen walked past the visitor area and climbed over the protective barrier, separating the public from the lion's habitat. Onlookers were stunned. Some initially thought he was a zoo employee, but they quickly realized it was something far more bizarre. People started shouting, trying to warn him of the danger, while others used their cameras to capture the unfolding scene. Chen walked calmly through the enclosure, gesturing and speaking loudly. Witnesses reported hearing him say phrases like, "Jesus will save you," and "Do not be afraid, brothers." His erratic behavior and lack of fear unsettled the lions. At first, the big cats simply observed him, intrigued by the unusual presence. But for wild animals, any strange behavior can be interpreted as a threat. One of the lions slowly approached and, in a sudden movement, attacked, biting Chen's arm. He screamed, but surprisingly, he did not try to escape. He seemed convinced that nothing bad would happen to him. The crowd watched in shock as zoo staff rushed to contain the situation. The rescue team arrived quickly, armed with tranquilizers and high-pressure hoses. They fired darts at the lions and used water jets to drive them away. After a few tense minutes, the lions began to slow down as the sedatives took effect, allowing zoo staff to remove Chun from the enclosure. He was rushed to a hospital, where he received treatment for bite wounds on his legs and arms. Beyond the physical injuries, doctors and psychologists who examined him concluded that Chun suffered from psychological disorders and that his reckless behavior was driven by hallucinations. He claimed to have heard voices urging him to enter the lion's enclosure. Footage of the incident was widely broadcast on television and in newspapers at the time. Years later, with the rise of YouTube, the images resurfaced and quickly went viral, gaining millions of views. This is undoubtedly one of the most famous videos on this list, and one of the first to go viral on the platform. The sight of a man attempting to convert lions remains one of the most bizarre and astonishing moments ever captured on film.